Coming in, we have a knower of ball that is
Oh, yeah.
coming inside of this show right now, who has one of the most interesting stories in e-commerce.
Crazy.
From being a cop in Phoenix, moving himself to Denver, starting a brand that he eventually exits, and now sitting atop one of the most interesting doing things agency inside of our space. I am talking about Torii Rowe of DREAMLABS. Torii, get in here. Get in here, Torii.
What's up, gents?
What a background. Oh my gosh.
It is a great background, man.
Florida's nice this time of year.
Oh, isn't it always? That's why everybody's going to get there as soon as they can.
There's a couple benefits out here.
Torii, man, we appreciate you coming in here, man. I want to talk with you about Meta because you have been teasing a lot of stuff on the timeline, and I want to get to that. But before we get there, man, you've got to give us just a little foundation and background on you, because you are one of the most. You're the international man of mystery when it comes to e-com. You're like the 007 who was, running paid media for some of the biggest brands while he was growing his own brand and selling this and joining DREAMLABS and all the things. Man, just give us a little background on you before we get going.
Yeah, quick background. I started like the police officer stuff in 2013. I was 23. I became a cop in Phoenix. Was out there kind of working night shift, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. or whatever. Did a lot of violent crimes out there, kind of across the board. So one of the most violent cities in the nation. So got to do a lot of cool stuff. Did some undercover work out there and things like that. All over the place. I have 2 life-saving awards: Meritus Officer of the Year, Medal of Valor.
Really, Torii?
Yeah,
Torii, out there in the Wild West, man.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was cool. Did that, and then like my last year, I got kind of diagnosed with PTSD. Wasn't sleeping and stuff like that. Kind of went through some stuff. And my best friend at the time was like, "Hey, we should do something, like figure something out." And so we sat at Starbucks during Thanksgiving, and we started kind of like just jotting some stuff down. We were like, "Should we do this?" And we were always wearing these like H&M bracelets and stuff like that. We were like, we should go make bracelets. And then so we were like, all right, cool, let's make a jewelry company. So telling my dad, who was a cop for 32 years, hey, I'm going to quit, not become a sergeant, and I'm going to go make a jewelry company. He was super stoked, Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, dude, sell bracelets, dude. You'll make tons of money. Great idea. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to holster the weapon and go sell some bracelets to some men. He was like, great call, dude. Great call. So my last year, we were kind of like learning logistics. How do you make jewelry? Kind of all this kind of stuff, right? It took me longer than I would expect. So I was still doing the cop stuff and then doing this as like the side thing to kind of get started. And before we launched, him and I moved to Denver, Colorado. So put my notice in, launched, went to Denver, have no college degree, barely graduated high school, was not a good student in any way. And so I went from like, I always tell people, went from knocking down doors to knocking on doors because I didn't have a job. And I went to sell ADT home security. So I was selling ADT home security, knocking on doors while starting my first brand. And that was a humbling experience to obviously go from like a government job to like chase a dream by knocking on doors and saying like, hey, do you want a security camera? And you're like, I used to be a cop. Like it was a tough one for a minute. Scaled that 0 to 8 figures in 3 years, ended up leaving and exiting at a later point. And after that, along that journey, I met my business partner, Blake. He's the vice president of marketing at Movement. They did 0 to 100 million. Everybody kind of knows the story and stuff like that. Yeah, Blake was basically like the third founder over there. And so Blake was doing the creative for our company for his agency, DREAMLABS. And so I exited my company, called Blake after he exited Movement, said, hey, I want to start an agency. Like, what's the best way to get in it? And he goes, I've been waiting for the phone call, brother. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. And he's like, come join. And I was like, all right, sweet. So I got to come join over there and had a bunch of stuff kind of happen in between that, but that's kind of the gist of it. And took on DREAMLABS about 4.5 years ago.
Wow. I mean, there's a ton of ways we can take this, Chris. I don't know if you have any directions, but there's so much there.
There is.
Also,
there's a lot
if the apocalypse happens, I'm hanging out with you, Torii.
Yeah, we want to do it.
I'm hanging out with you because you seem like you can handle your stuff. Because we
do all right.
Yeah.
Torii, I think that background you mentioned, your partner at Movement, and now you guys on the agency side, you do have a compelling, kind of unique view, in that you guys have both been founders for brands that have had great success and exited, et cetera. And I know that you bring that to your clients. Man, I think, just from looking at your Twitter feed, brother, I think that you have had access or are aware of, some things that, perhaps the rest of us might be privy to from Meta in Q2. Man, what have you seen? What's coming? What are you excited about? Just give us a little bit on that.
Yeah, so they hit us in Q1. I think Cody Plofker probably was kind of in this as well. It's because he retweeted kind of some stuff, but they asked a lot of us for feedback. And they were like, hey, do you guys have any feedback for us and kind of how to take things? So we kind of went through, filled out a form. And a lot of us, I think, probably said, hey, new customer acquisition is the key to success for us, right? And we've been preaching that for a long time, but they haven't really taken the leaps and bounds towards it. And it seems like Q2, that's what's being released across the board in a lot of different ways, right? And so the two main ones that I kind of would jump on is one, the customer lifetime strategy, I believe is what it's called, which is basically you can pick whether you want new customers or you want to hit kind of everybody across the board. And then in the new customers, for you to pick it, you can pick whether you want to go after non-brand aware, non-engaged, or engaged who are brand aware, right? So that's the first thing. Everybody's asking, why is this different from exclusions, right? We already use exclusions, stuff like that. Well, exclusions are basically guardrails we're putting up, right? Saying, hey, don't go target these people. Where this is a little different, if this is an input at the top, right? So we're putting an input in and saying, hey, listen, this is what we want the algorithm to go do. Not saying, hey, don't, we're the other way, we're saying, hey, algorithm, don't go do this, right? So instead of guardrails, we're actually giving it guidance. Now, I just started testing this about 48 hours ago, so I'll let you know kind of what it looks like probably here in a week or so. It came out the 19th, so it's pretty fresh.
Wow.
The other one too is there's an awareness and sales combination where basically they have awareness on top and sales underneath, and this is going to be a singular campaign structure where, from what I've been told from the Meta reps and stuff like that, it's about 70% sales, and there's about a 30% awareness or reach, kind of however you want to structure this. There's days where we go out and we spend on conversions, right? And you'll see your add to carts go really high, checkouts might go high, but those people aren't really through the funnel yet. So instead of being able to kind of just sit there and hit this at a higher CPM, it's going to take that other 30% of your budget and go try to reach new people and try to basically walk them down the funnel. So it's kind of a full funnel experience that they're going to go try to get. Now, I'll give people a little tidbit here. If you want to get onto the beta test, you need to launch a reach campaign now.
Okay.
So they're looking for people who are launching reach campaigns and kind of keep an evergreen reach campaign launched inside of their campaigns at the moment. If you have one, they may reach out to you and say, hey, we want to have you test this. The reason they're doing that is they want to basically be able to come back and say, hey, this is what happens on a normal reach. This is what happens with this new funnel. Here's kind of how they operate.
Man, that is fascinating. That's fascinating. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, are you able to provide a little bit of data to some of your early results? Obviously, you can anonymize it and do percentages, but have you seen any kind of early results of testing out these couple beta features that you've had access to that all us normal folks don't have access to?
Yeah, customer lifetime strategy is what I'm testing right now. I haven't started testing the other one quite yet. Part of it is just when is the ad account ready for a big test coming in, and the one who it's available on is running a sale at the moment, so it just didn't make sense for me to launch it. Yeah. Customer lifetime strategy is coming out hot. Looks really good. CPAs percentage-wise is about 40% lower at the moment. It is pretty low. It's pretty low volume at the moment as far as overall ad spend. It's about 15% of the account. So there might just be part of a nuance here of how it's performing, but it looks really good right now. We'll see as we scale kind of how this operates. But you also don't see any of the existing customers fly through or anything like that. Even on the other campaigns, you might have exclusions in place and still see maybe 3 to 5% of ad spend come through the existing, right? So this I see absolutely zero, which is the most interesting thing. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things you flip on and see an immediate performance. This might be the more long-term role here.
Wow.
And we're going to have to figure out as paid media buyers and kind of operators of how to utilize this to the best of our ability. Is like this the top of funnel kind of scale campaign? We use a bid cap, cost cap campaign to kind of clean up the engage underneath. Like there's going to be some nuances of how we structure this inside of accounts to kind of really see how this works. But as of now, looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it does.
That's crazy. That's pretty good. That's unreal.
That's unreal. And I just want to highlight this, Torii. I mean, it sounds to me, and especially want to highlight it for my brother Colin over here, it sounds to me like Meta is listening and taking action and making all of our lives better. This guy's always throwing Meta under the bus. And I mean, it sounds like they're really listening to us.
Yeah, I think so. I like to talk shit on Meta too. Sorry for Christian. But I also like to be careful about what I say because, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Exactly.
Yeah, right. So I want to be a little careful. I will say this as well. You know how we went from dynamic creative testing into flex campaigns, right? They're releasing a new one. I'm not sure what the name is of this one quite yet, but it's similar to a flex campaign. But right now in a flex campaign, you basically upload 4 to 5 or 9 by 16, right? And it just auto formats everything. Now we can actually pick the formats for every single creative, which is great. So you can upload 4 by 5s and 9 by 16 different videos, and you can actually pick the formatting for every single video inside of this new flex format. Also, they finally listened and we have the breakdown back, right? So we can actually look at the breakdown by the creative inside of it, where flex is basically a black box. We can't actually see what's happening. So I think they listened on that as well of like, we're open to running these types of campaigns. We're open to running to the flex, but we got to know what's working. You can't just keep us in a black box because we as companies, operators, whoever, need to iterate, need to understand why we think something is working. So they listened in a lot of ways this year.
Chris is pulling me towards Meta. I'm starting to believe in him.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't bite the hand that feeds you. I mean, none of us would have a job if Zuck didn't exist and hadn't built this incredible software that now they are improving on our behalf. I would love your take too, Torii, on the Meta and Stripe announcement that just came out. We covered it and talked about it earlier. And I think I saw you and Taylor Holiday going back and forth about it as well. I mean, I find this to be incredibly significant. I mean, the further they can move up the purchase to discovery, probably the better for all of us at the end of the day if it works.
He's probably had access for 6 months at this point.
Yeah, Tori's probably been doing it for months.
He's had access.
I had the Stripe access. Yeah, I had it in 2022. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to be serious.
No. Yeah, first off, it's hard to ever battle the GOAT Taylor, right? Like dude, the guy's just a legend, right? So shout out to him. I will say this, I think it's good, and I think it'll benefit us in a lot of ways to basically having this like Meta wallet, I believe is what it's called, where they'll be able to check out immediately kind of on top of this. I think that's a huge benefit. Do I think it's going to impact top of funnel? No. I can tell you, like, my fiance sits there on her phone looking at furniture right now all day long, right? There's that shopping experience that is still there that I don't think can be replaced. Taylor brought up TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop, I believe, is like 70% beauty and health and wellness, right? Yeah, of what they sell, right? And so, like, that's kind of what the experience is that you probably don't need as much learning there as maybe like, hey, I want to go furniture shopping. We're really limiting the D2C space here when we're like, hey, yeah, it's a one-step checkout. Like, there's still a lot of other things that have to take place before I'm ready to take that checkout. Yeah, so DABAs, DPAs, image, like that kind of stuff, I think this might kill for you guys. But on the video side, I think still going to a website will probably provide people the best experience. I think also like the differentiators between brands lives on the website side, right? You can see packaging and all this stuff. So if they can supplement this with some type of experience there where you can kind of look at it from an experiential standpoint and say like, oh, like I get a full PDP when I click on it and now I can scroll through the PDP and still check out there. Yeah, I think that could be really beneficial and it could come and actually take away quite a bit from Shopify. But until that point happens, I think, the one-step checkout's good, but it's only going to live in a certain place in your funnel.
Wow. I find this to be. Go ahead, Colin. I do want to double down on this though because I find this to be. utilitarian, which I think we're all for. You know, there's this whole side of e-commerce, tactical, practical, and all that we do that is largely bound up in media buying. It really is. Acquisition, etc. But there's also this other kind of side of e-commerce in which the website is really an extension of the brand. And I know it's a little frou-frou. You know, what is brand, et cetera, but it is a digital embodiment of the person running the business and their products and their ethos, et cetera, and there's some of that just like you're highlighting here cannot be adequately communicated in the funnel experience when somebody's just, hey, I saw it on TikTok Shop and I pushed buy. You know, there are other kinds of products and purchases where it's necessary to have a longer educational type experience and feel that I think we also want. You know, we do as Americans enjoy shopping. I mean, we do. We enjoy it. That's why every holiday surrounds, you know, some kind of big sale that's happening everywhere. I mean, do you have this kind of thought as well, Torii?
Yeah, it's not frou-frou in any way. Like, think about Lulu, Aloe, Built, Cuts, Warby Parker, Stitch Fix, all these guys like that, like who now went from D2C into retail. Their retail reflects what they show on D2C, right? We're replacing that experience now with the online experience, right? That is your storefront, right? That is, and when they go into the retail, their storefront now reflects the online store, right? So there is something to this. You can't just have a white page that says, hey, buy this supplement and like pick it up, right? Now, like I said, I think it has its place in the funnel, but as much as we want to say like brand is dead or anything like that, there's always that argument of like, does it still exist? Yeah, 100% it does. And the people who are able to achieve it, Comfort, all these people like that, right? These guys are the ones who are killing it, right? And part of that is what they've put the experience to be on the website.
Wow. Could you talk a little bit more about basically what you guys are doing at DREAMLABS? I mean, just what you kind of baking out in 2026. You have an incredible partner with Blake, and obviously you're a powerhouse. I'm sure that you guys have some really amazing plans and goals that you have for 2026. Could you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we've kind of like supplemented from being a paid media and creative agency into like full growth marketing, kind of across the board from top down. I think part of this has just come from like, once you're a founder and you kind of have that cap on, you can't really take it off. So we would find ourselves going into businesses and basically tearing it down from top to bottom, right? And saying like, hey, this needs to be fixed. We should check this anyways, like that stuff. Because if we go in and we start to fix these things, obviously our retention of that client lasts longer anyways, because they're getting a better experience. And also they're, you know, seeing success. So we've kind of started to dive into a little bit of everything across the board and kind of helped holistically on businesses. Most of the businesses we help are anywhere from 10 million is like kind of the low end that we kind of operate to our highest being around 800, 900 million this year. So all over the board, we work with like Justin Bieber. We work with House of PepsiCo. House of PepsiCo. We're releasing Pepsi's new brand this year in about 2 months. So we're actually picking everything up from them, from the website all the way back. Man. We have a partner on the website side who's doing it. They're incredible. So yeah, we get to do a lot of cool stuff, but you know, we tell companies kind of across the board of like, if you're not stacked on inventory, ready to go, like, don't come to us. Like, we're going to tell you no. Like, we're not here to kind of stabilize you and run this slow. Like, we're going to scale you. Like, so let's rock and roll. And so I think the big thing is too, and I'll kind of clean this up, is like me, I'm not kind of a no bullshit guy. Like, I am who I am. And like, that's just what you see. So when there's a founder on the other side, like I have a company right now who is operating a 6-7 ROAS last 2 years. And I'm like, spend the damn money, like go. And so like telling the founder on the other side, like, hey, listen, you need to listen, go spend the money or like, we're going to walk away. Right. Like you guys have to go. And so like, we're going to push back on you guys and try to force you. And I think that's something that a lot of agencies can't do. And I won't say like we've earned the respect to have that, but like, since we have been founders and we've had exits, I think there's a little more respect on that side of like, we're not just a normal media buyer who's sitting over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Spend the money.
Sense in the world. Spend the money, baby.
Spend the money. Come on.
6-7 ROAS? Like, come on,
that's
man.
crazy.
Like, you gotta go.
On.
You gotta go.
You gotta go.
Brother, there was a business I used to be involved with. It's the most successful business that I was ever involved with. But we regularly sat around a 9 or 10 And it was that was always the conversation was let's spend more. But there was just a kind of a foundational thought like, hey, no, we're cash flowing this thing and
we're doing great,
profit first,
See,
and
but,
it's going great, and all of these things. But
that's what people don't understand, though. What they don't understand, though, is like ROAS is not cash flow in the business, right? Like, so for this company, they're tight on cash flow because OPEX is a large percentage of the P&L. And so if you scale and you actually drop your efficiency, there's the more cash flow that actually comes into the business at a lower ROAS mark, right? And so like they just don't understand this. And so it's something hard to explain to people of like, hey, double your ad spend, decrease your efficiency by a 2 ROAS, and you're going to make more money. They're like, that doesn't make sense. And you're like, well, let's explain this, right? Like it's a hard thing to explain to people.
Yeah, it's counterintuitive.
That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah. Well, that's why they hire you. That's why
they hire Torii.
That's why.
That's right.
Torii, man, we appreciate you coming in here and joining us on the show. And man, we look forward to having you back. And I truly think, man, now that we have gotten to talk and man, I heard your story and hear about what you guys are doing, you really do bring something unique to the table for your clients.
Appreciate that.
Man, I can see why you guys are going to the moon, and people need to be ready. This is great framing too. Be ready with that inventory, baby. Otherwise we're not going to work together. That's good framing, brother. We appreciate you joining us.
Appreciate it, guys.
Having you back, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.